What is anger? We all feel angry at times. It's part of being human. Anger is a normal, healthy emotion which we might experience if we feel attacked, deceived, frustrated, or invalidated, or somehow unfairly treated. It isn't necessarily a bad emotion. In fact, it can sometimes be useful. For example, feeling angry about something can help us identify problems or things that are hurting us, motivate us to create change, achieve our goals and move on, or help us stay safe and defend ourselves in dangerous situations by giving us a burst of energy as part of our fight or flight system. Most people will experience episodes of anger which feel manageable and don't have a big impact on their lives. Learning healthy ways to recognize, express, and deal with anger is important for our mental and physical health. Okay, so when is anger a problem? Anger only becomes a problem when it gets out of control and harms you or people around you. This can happen when you regularly express your anger through unhelpful or destructive behavior, or when your anger is having a negative impact on your overall mental and physical health, or when your anger becomes your go-to emotion, blocking out your ability to feel other emotions, or you haven't developed healthy ways to express your anger. One way anger has been described as when someone once said, "It feels like there's a ball of fire in the middle of my chest that bursts its way straight out of my mouth and burns the people around me." Okay, moving on. What is unhelpful angry behavior? How you behave when you're angry depends on how well you're able to identify and cope with your feelings, and how you've learned to express them. Not everyone expresses anger in the same way. For example, some unhelpful ways you may have learned to express anger include outward aggression and violence, that is, such as shouting, swearing, slamming doors, hitting or throwing things, and being physically violent or verbally abusive and threatening towards others. Or inward aggression, such as telling yourself that you hate yourself, denying yourself your basic needs like food or things that might make you happy, or cutting yourself off from the world and self-harming. Another way is nonviolent or passive aggression, such as ignoring people or refusing to speak to them, refusing to do tasks, or deliberately doing things poorly, late, or at the last possible minute, and being sarcastic or sulky while not saying anything explicitly aggressive or angry. You might describe this as saying something like, "My brain goes blank and I absent-mindedly release my anger through physical violence towards myself or objects around me. I don't realize how destructive I've been until immediately afterwards." Okay, so if you find you express your anger through outward aggression and violence, this can be extremely frightening and damaging for people around you, especially children. And it can have serious consequences. It can mean you lose your family, job, and get into trouble with the law. In this case, it's very important to seek treatment and support. But even if you're never outwardly violent or aggressive towards others, and never even raise your voice, you might still recognize some of these angry behaviors and feel that they are a problem for you. For example, you turn your anger inwards and self-harm or deny yourself food. Some people will just internalize their anger and punish themselves by self-harm. Okay, so what does anger feel like? Anger feels different for everyone. You might experience some of the things that I'm about to mention, and you might also have other experiences or difficulties that I'm not about to list. Okay, let's first talk about the effects on your body. You can have a churning feeling in your stomach, tightness in your chest, increased and rapid heartbeat, legs go weak, tense muscles, You feel hot. You have an urge to go to the toilet. You're sweating, especially your palms, maybe a pounding head, shaking or trembling, or dizziness. Those are the effects on your body. Now let's talk about the effects on the mind. You're feeling tense, nervous, or unable to relax, feeling guilty, feeling resentful towards other people or situations. You are easily irritated. A quote-unquote red mist comes down on you. Feeling humiliated. Recognizing these signs gives you the chance to think about how you want to react to a situation before doing anything. This can be difficult in the heat of the moment, but the earlier you notice how you're feeling, the earlier it can be to choose how to express and manage your anger. The best advice I was given was to, stop briefly once I'm, angry and ask myself, what painful emotion I am feeling in the situation where I become angry. A bit of compassion for your own pain often can stop you from taking that pain out on others. Okay, question. Why do I get angry? Feelings of anger arise due to how we interpret and react to certain situations. Everyone has their own triggers for what makes them angry, but some common ones include situations in which we feel threatened or attacked, frustrated or powerless, or like we are being invalidated or treated unfairly, or like people are not respecting our feelings or possessions. People can interpret situations differently, so a situation that makes you feel very angry may not make someone else feel angry at all. For example, other reactions could include annoyance, hurt, or amusement. But just because we can interpret things differently, it doesn't mean that you are interpreting things wrong if you feel angry. How you interpret and react to a situation can depend on lots of factors in your life, including your childhood and upbringing, past experiences, and current circumstances. Whether your anger is about something that happened in the past or something that's going on right now, thinking about how and why we interpret and react to situations can help us learn how to cope with our emotions better. It can also help us find productive strategies to handle our anger. Okay, let's talk about your childhood and upbringing. How we learn to cope with angry feelings is often influenced by our upbringing. Many people are given messages about anger as children that may make it harder to manage it as an adult. For example, you may have grown up thinking that it's always okay to act out your anger aggressively or violently, and so you didn't learn how to understand and manage your angry feelings. This could mean you have angry outbursts whenever you don't like the way someone is behaving or whenever you are in a situation you don't like. Or you may have been brought up to believe that you shouldn't complain and may have been punished for expressing anger as a child. This could mean that you tend to suppress your anger and it becomes a long-term problem, where you react inappropriately to new situations you're not comfortable with, or if you don't feel you can release your anger in a healthy way, you might also turn this inwards on yourself. Or you may have witnessed your parents or other adults' anger when it was out of control and learned to think of anger as something that is destructive and terrifying. This could mean that you now feel afraid of your own anger and don't feel safe expressing your feelings when something makes you angry. Those feelings might then surface at another unconnected time, which may feel hard to explain. Okay, now let's talk about past experiences. If you have experienced particular situations in the past that made you feel angry, such as abuse, trauma, or bullying, either as a child or more recently as an adult, and you weren't able to safely express your anger at the time, you might still be coping with those angry feelings now. This might mean that you now find certain situations particularly challenging and more likely to make you angry. Sometimes your present feelings of anger may not only be about the current situation, but may also be related to a past experience, which can mean that the anger you are feeling in the present is at a level that reflects your past situation. Becoming aware of this can help you can help us to find ways of responding to situations in the present in a safer and less distressed way. Okay, now let's talk about current circumstances. If you are dealing with a lot of other problems in your life right now, you might find yourself feeling angry more easily than usual or getting angry at unrelated things. If there's a particular situation that's making you feel angry, but you don't feel able to express your anger directly or resolve it, then you might find you express that anger at other times. Anger can also be a part of grief. If you've lost someone important to you, it can be hugely difficult to cope with all the conflicting things you might be feeling. Breathing techniques can help to control anger. If you take a moment to concentrate on your breathing and not the anger, then you'll have something else to focus on. Okay, question. What can I do to manage my anger? It can be frightening when your anger overwhelms you, but there are ways you can learn to manage your anger when you find yourself in difficult situations. You can look out for warning signs, or buy yourself time to think, or try some calming techniques. Remember, if your outbursts can be violent or abusive, this can cause serious problems in your life and relationships, and can be very damaging to the people around you. Okay, now let's look out for warning signs. Anger can cause a rush of adrenaline through your body. So before you recognize the emotion you are feeling, you might notice your heart is beating faster, your breathing is quicker, your body is becoming tense, your feet are tapping, you are clenching your jaw or fists. Recognizing these signs gives you the chance to think about how you want to react to a situation before doing anything. This can be difficult in the heat of the moment, but the earlier you notice how you're feeling, the easier it can be to choose how to manage your anger. Breathing techniques can help you to control your anger. And again, if you remember, take a moment to concentrate on the breathing, not the anger, then you will have something else to focus on. Okay, something else you can do is buy yourself time to think. Sometimes when we are feeling angry, we just need to walk away from the situation for a while. This can give you time to work out what you are thinking about the situation, decide how you want to react to it, and feel more in control. Some ways you can buy yourself time to think are counting to 10 before you react, taking yourself out of the situation by going for a short walk, even if it's just around your block or local area, talking to a trusted person who's not connected to the situation, such as a friend, family member, counselor, or peer support group, or expressing your thoughts out loud can help you understand why you're angry and help calm you down. If you don't feel comfortable talking to someone you can confidentially call a hotline to talk about things that might be upsetting for you. Maybe one of the best way to help yourself is to just get away from the situation so you can cool down. Okay, now let's talk about trying some techniques to manage your feelings. There are many ways to calm down and let go of angry feelings, depending on what suits you and what's convenient at the time you're angry. You can breathe slowly and try to breathe out for longer than you breathe in, and focus on each breath as you take it. 2, relax your body. If you can feel your body getting tense, try focusing on each part of your body and turn to tense and then relax your muscles. Or try mindfulness techniques. Mindfulness can help you to be aware of when you're getting angry and can help calm your body and mind down. Exercise. Try to work out your anger through exercise. Sports like running or boxing can be really helpful for releasing pent-up energy. You can also try to use up your energy safely in other ways. This can help relieve some of your angry feelings in a way that doesn't hurt yourself or others. For example, you could try tearing up a newspaper, hitting a pillow, or smashing ice cubes in a sink. Also, do something to distract yourself mentally or physically. Anything that completely changes your situation thoughts or patterns can help stop your anger escalating. For example, you could try putting on upbeat music and dancing, doing something with your hands like fixing something or making something, doing something creative like coloring or drawing, writing in a journal, or taking a cold shower. Remember, learning new techniques to help manage your feelings can take time and practice, so try to be patient and gentle with yourself as you learn these new skills. Okay, how can I control my anger long term? If you think about how to manage your anger when you are feeling calmer, you can avoid feeling overwhelmed by it in the heat of the moment. In particular, you can learn your triggers, examine your thought patterns, develop communication skills, and look at your lifestyle. All right, so let's first talk about learn your triggers. Understanding what sort of situations trigger your anger means you can develop strategies to cope and think about how to react before the situation happens. You might find it helpful to keep a diary or make notes about the times you have felt angry. You could record what were the circumstances, or did someone say or do something to trigger your anger, or how do you feel, how do you behave, or how do you feel afterwards? If you do this for a while, you might start to see patterns emerging. You could do this yourself using a mood diary. And there's many available for free online. Or you could just find a professional therapist to help you. And maybe over time, hopefully you'll be able to spot certain triggers, which then will enable you to look at yourself and choose a healthier path. Okay, now let's talk about examining your thought patterns. If you're feeling upset or angry, you might find yourself automatically thinking or saying things like, "This is all their fault," or "they never listen," or "this always happens to me," or "other people should behave better." But often there are lots of different ways we could interpret a situation. It can make you feel worse if you think in terms of always, never, and should, because in reality things are rarely so black and white. Making an effort to replace these words with softer terms like sometimes or could when thinking about your situation might help you to break up negative thought patterns and reflect more calmly on your situation and find new ways through conflicts. Maybe the best advice that could ever be given is to stop briefly once you're angry and ask yourself, what painful emotion are you feeling in this situation that caused you to become angry? A bit of compassion for your own pain might often stop you from taking that pain out on others. Okay? Develop your communication skills. Being excessively angry and aggressive can get in the way of communicating your feelings and thoughts effectively. People may focus on your anger and find it hard to listen to what you're saying. On the other hand, if you are able to express your anger by talking in an assertive, respectful way about what has made you angry, then you are more likely to be understood by others. Being assertive means standing up for yourself while still respecting other people and their opinions. It can make communication easier, stop tense situations getting out of control, or benefit your relationships and self-esteem. Learning to be assertive might not feel easy to start with, but here are some things to try. 1, think about the outcome you want to achieve. What's making you angry and what do you want to change? Is it enough just to explain what you are angry about? 2, be specific. For example, you could open your statement with, "I feel angry with you because ... Using the phrase "I feel" avoids blaming anyone, and the other person is less likely to feel attacked. 3, really listen to the other person's response and try to understand their point of view. 4, be prepared for the conversation to go wrong and try to spot where this is happening. If you feel yourself getting angry, you might want to come back to the conversation another time. I think one thing that might really help you is just acknowledging how you feel and why, then taking time to address it productively. Okay? Look at your lifestyle. Looking after your well-being more generally could help you feel calmer and more in control when things happen that make you feel angry. You might want to avoid drugs and alcohol. Although you might feel this could help you cope in the short term, alcohol and drugs can both affect your ability to control your emotions and actions and can be a factor in violence. Something else you can do is be more active. Being active can help let out any tension you're feeling, as well as having benefits to your self-esteem. Even gentle exercise like going for a walk can make a difference. Get good sleep. Not sleeping well can have a huge impact on how we are feeling and how well we cope with things that happen to us. Something else you can do is look at what you're eating and drinking. There are lots of web pages out there on foods and moods for your information. Next, look at our lifestyle that we can take is learn to deal with pressure. We can feel pressured or stressed for lots of different reasons, but taking some time to learn how to deal with pressure can help us feel more in control of difficult situations. Another thing you can do is develop your emotional resilience. Emotional resilience helps us feel more able to handle difficult emotions. A great way to manage your anger is exercise. It can really transform your mood. Okay, so what help is available? There are various treatments available that can help you with your anger problems. You can go speak with a mental health provider, licensed professional counselor, doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, or maybe just a close friend that you trust and you know will give you the best possible advice, or maybe a religious leader, or maybe a mentor. Okay, let's talk about talking therapy and counseling. Talking therapy and counseling involves talking about your problems with a trained professional such as a counselor or psychotherapist who can help you explore the causes of your anger and ways to manage it. This can help you work through your feelings and improve your responses to situations that make you angry. There are different types of talking therapies, and some are specifically tailored to anger issues. One is counseling. Counseling is usually a short-term treatment where you might talk through a specific issue such as outbursts of anger with your partner or in the workplace, and try to understand how you can manage those situations differently. Some workplaces, higher education institutions, local charities offer free or low-cost counseling services to their employees, students, or local residents. Psychotherapy often lasts longer than counseling and tends to go deeper into past experiences. Your focus here may be on learning more about yourself to help you understand why you express your anger the way you do, or why certain situations make you angry. Another option is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. It is a highly structured, short-term talking therapy that examines how your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors affect each other and aims to teach you practical skills to change this. CBT is the most commonly offered talking treatment in many professions. You could also try to learn CBT techniques by yourself through accessing self-help books from your local library or online. I think some of the best things you can do is talk. I think that will help you immensely. Last thing you want to do is not talk about it and bottle it all up inside. So don't bottle it up inside. Not good. Okay. One word of caution. Anger can be a barrier to getting help. Accessing professional help isn't always straightforward. It can be challenging and sometimes you might experience setbacks or delays. It's understandable that you might sometimes feel frustrated and angry about your situation, especially if you don't feel you are getting the help you want. But if you express your anger aggressively towards your healthcare professionals, this can cause more problems and delays in getting the help you want. Healthcare professionals have a right to feel safe at work. So if your behavior becomes aggressive or threatening, they may not feel able to help you. Okay, now let's talk about help for abusive and violent behavior. If your anger means you are acting in an abusive or violent way, it's important to get help. You might feel worried that asking for help will get you in trouble, but it is often the most important first step towards changing your behavior. You can contact your doctor or therapist. They can talk through your options with you and refer you on to any other available services or resources. Okay, but now let's talk about what can friends and family do. So if you are a friend or family member of someone who's experiencing problems with anger, this might be a good thing to listen to. It can be very difficult when someone you care about is experiencing problems with anger, especially if they sometimes direct their anger towards you, others close to them, or themselves. We are all responsible for our own actions, so ultimately it will be up to them to learn how to manage and express their anger appropriately. But there are still lots of things you can do to help support them. First thing you can do is stay calm. Although you probably have a lot of difficult feelings of your own, if you can stay calm, it can help to stop anger escalating. You can try to listen to them. If you can, allow them time to communicate their feelings without judging them. Often when someone feels that they are being listened to, they are more able to hear other people's points of view as well. And sometimes just being given permission to communicate angry feelings can be enough to help someone calm down. Give them space. If you notice that continuing the conversation is making it worse, give them space to calm down and think. This could be something like going into another room for a while or spending a few days apart. It's important to give yourself space as well so you don't find yourself getting too angry. Okay? Set boundaries. While there are lots of reasons why this can be difficult, it's important to set limits and boundaries. Be clear in advance about what sort of behavior is and isn't acceptable to you. And think about what action you can take if someone crosses the line. You don't have to put up with any behavior that makes you feel unsafe or seriously affects your own well-being. Okay? Help them identify their triggers. This is something you can try when you are both feeling calm away from any heated situation. Identifying someone's triggers for anger can help you both think about ways you can avoid triggering situations and plan how to handle them and how to communicate when they do arise. But try not to be judgmental or accusatory. While it can be useful to give specific examples of when you remember them getting angry, be aware that this is probably upsetting for them to think about. Okay? Support them to seek professional help. For example, you could help them arrange to see their doctor or help research anger management courses. Also, look after your own well-being. It can be difficult at times to support someone else, so make sure you are looking after your own well-being too. I heard someone once say, the worst thing is for people to tell me to calm down or say that whatever caused my anger doesn't matter. People listening and accepting my feelings, even if my anger seems unprecedented, helps the most. I think those are valuable words. Okay, moving on. What if their behavior is abusive or violent? Just because someone seems very angry, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will become violent or abusive. But if this does happen, the most important thing is to make sure that you are safe. Don't confront someone who is behaving aggressively. If you want to talk to them, wait until the situation has calmed down. You may want to make a safety plan. This might include making a list of phone numbers of people, organizations, and services that you can call if you are scared. Arranging to stay at a friend's or neighbor's house until things are calm. Make sure you take any children or other people at risk with you. Or having a bag prepared to leave in an emergency. You might be able to go to a safe house for women and children escaping domestic abuse. You might be able to contact a local shelter and see what's available. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Just Google it. Other women's shelters in the local area. There's maybe some men's groups out there. And always, you can call the police. If your safety is in danger or the safety of others in your home, such as children, then just dial 911. You might feel worried about getting your loved one in trouble, but it's important to always put your own safety first. I heard someone once say, "I need my family to speak to me honestly but remain understanding." We have code words that we all can use when I'm either being unreasonable or when I feel like I might lash out. Okay? Well, what if they don't recognize they have a problem? You might find that the person you're supporting doesn't recognize they have a problem and or refuses to seek help. It's understandable to feel frustrated, distressed, and powerless as a result of this, but it's important to accept that they are an individual and that there are always limits to what you can do to support another person. Okay, thank you for listening. Please consider subscribing. Citation, Mind 2018.